Good morning, folks. Ron Bishop, Timaru, New Zealand. Every Sunday I come online and I do a Sunday sermon. I don't go to church. I used to go to church, but now I just do a Sunday sermon. I'm the preacher, and I try to talk about all sorts of things every Sunday, things about life. And my subject today is called The Secret. I've called it The Secret because there's recently been a movie done on it called The Secret, and it's about the power of the mind. And the secret is this. It's the, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Whatever we think, we become. In other words, what we concentrate our thoughts on, that's what happens to us in life. A lot of people think that their lives are run by governments and all sorts of things like that, and but it's not. We run our own lives. Our lives are run by our thoughts. Whatever we think, that's what will happen. And so whatever we concentrate our thoughts on every day, it'll come into reality in our life. So if good things have happened to you, it's because you've been thinking good thoughts. And if bad things have been happening to you, well, it's simply because we've been thinking bad thoughts. We all know that one of the biggest problems in the world today is poverty. The world is full of poor people. A lot of people out there can't get enough money to buy their food and clothing. And there's a lot of poverty in the world. And what causes poverty? Poverty is caused by the thoughts of people. I went to church one day and I was listening to some people talk about poverty, and they went to I think it was India or somewhere overseas, to where the most poorest people were in the world, and they were trying to convert these people to Christianity, you see. And they showed some videos, they showed some photos of them. And all these young people were smiling. They were all happy. Why were they happy? They were the poorest people in the world, and yet they were happy. The reason they were happy is they didn't know they were poor. Because what is poverty? Poverty is comparing yourself with somebody else. Comparing how much stuff have you got compared to somebody else. Right? That's how poverty is and richness is compared. We compare ourselves with other people. Where is real richness, real happiness lies within our heart. Right? And it's what we think determines how we react and how we enjoy life. We either enjoy life or we don't enjoy life, depending on our thoughts. Religion over the years has talked about this, talked about poverty, and tried to help people. The Salvation Army, which is a great organisation, does a lot of work on helping people who live in poverty. But I'm always skeptical of what happens if you feed people for free and clothe them for free and give everything for free. They won't appreciate it. They just expect it. And I'm always skeptical of these organisations who do that, because people will just use the system. I'm often reminded, my uncle was a great man for the bush, and he always fed birds, and he was a bachelor, and he would always throw the breadcrumbs and everything out the window of the kitchen, and he always had lots of birds around his hut, wherever he was. And poor old Uncle Ted, he's died now, he died in his mid-90s, but the birds didn't die. They just went somewhere else to get the food, right? The birds are not there. The birds have died, have flown away and gone somewhere else to feed them, right? And it's the same with people. If we give them stuff for nothing and feed them for nothing, they'll expect it all the time, right? So we have to change our attitude. We have to change the way we see things. We have to change the way we look at ourselves. And the Bible says, as a man thinks, so is he. So if you think you are poor, you will be poor. It's the thoughts that we think that keep us where we are. If you think you are rich, you'll become rich. It's very simple. It's called the secret, the law of attraction. We attract to ourselves that which we think about. Think about being poor and you'll be poor. Think about being rich and you'll be rich. It's very simple. And the Bible says, look, the Bible says God sent his son Jesus to tell us this. He sent Jesus, and Jesus said, look, ask me and you shall receive. Ask in my name and you shall receive. God will give you everything you want if you ask him. Ask and you shall receive. Knock and the door will open for you. That's what the Bible tells us. So to do that, we have to become Christians. We have to believe that this is going to happen. And the way to do that is to turn our life over to Christ and say, Jesus, come into my life and change me. Because we can't change ourselves without we have love in our heart. And what is love? God is love. God has to be in our heart to change our attitude. Okay? Now, it all sounds very simple, doesn't it? All you have to do is change your attitude, change your thoughts. Well, a lot of people know this. They've been taught about it for a long time, but they don't do it. Why don't they do it? Well, of course, there's something called pride. Each one of us has pride. And becoming a Christian means we have to swallow our pride. We have to say, listen, I can't do this on my own. I need a power outside of myself. I need to call on God to help me do it. Right? But people won't do that because of their pride. Right? Because they think, I can do it. But they can't. You can't do it. You have to call on God. There is a power. If there's a power out there that'll give you everything you want, why would you not want to do it? I'll tell you why. Because we are creatures of habit. We are creatures of habit. Our thoughts are habitual. We think one way, and that becomes a habit. And to change our habits, we have to do exercises. We have to do mental exercises. We have to change our thoughts. We do it in two ways. We do it by affirmations. Affirmations are the things that we say to ourselves and to others. Affirmations are something we say over and over to ourselves. Like learning the times table. We learned the times table by saying it over and over and over. And the same happens with prosperity. We have to say over and over and over that we're wealthy. That money comes to us easily. Money comes to me in all forms, easily, right? And say this over and over and over. I go swimming every day. Most days I go swimming. And while I'm swimming, I don't swim, I walk up and down the pool, and I'm saying my affirmations. I'm saying over and over and over all the things that I want to have happen, right? I'm doing the exercises, right? Because if you don't do the mental exercises, it won't happen. I want to lose weight. I'm starting to lose weight now because I've been ill, but I want to lose a lot more. So when I get into the pool, the first 10 minutes, I say to myself, I'm getting slimmer and slimmer and slimmer. These exercises are making me slimmer and slimmer and slimmer. The weight is falling off me. And I imagine, I hold a picture in my mind of having a slim body because I'm overweight and I have to get the weight off. So I'm saying the opposite of what actually is happening. Okay? I'm going to do another video, and it's going to be about a place in the North Island called Poverty Bay. Poverty Bay got its name by Captain Cook, an English sailor who came out and discovered New Zealand. The first place he discovered was a place called Poverty Bay. Now, he called it Poverty Bay because when he got there were no food, there was no water, it was very scarce of anything. So he called it Poverty Bay. And it's now been known for years as Poverty Bay. Now, just further down the road, Captain Cook went on his ship and he found another place with lots of food and lots of water, and he called it Bay of Plenty, right? The Bay of Plenty. There was plenty of everything. Now, if you go to these two areas, the Bay of Plenty and Poverty Bay, you'll see a big difference in the wealth of these areas. The Bay of Plenty is very prosperous, one of the most prosperous places in the country, because of its name. It calls itself We Have Plenty, Bay of Plenty. Poverty Bay, I don't know how poor it is. I'm going to have, because I've never been there, but I assume there are a lot of poor people there because of the name Poverty Bay. And I believe we can change the name. That it's time Poverty Bay needs to change the name to Prosperous Bay. The opposite. If they called themselves Prosperous Bay, they would become prosperous, because they would think every time they used the word prosperous, they'd think of prosperity. At the moment, they're using the name Poverty Bay, so every time they think poverty, they think poor, right? You have to think positive. So, I believe Poverty Bay should change its name to Prosperous Bay. And I'm going to talk about that in another video. And I'm going to write to the Mayor of Gisborne and that. And I'm going to talk about how they should change their name to Prosperous Bay, not Poverty Bay. Okay? Righto, I got to go. I'll put this up for you. Keep tuning into my videos every week. And don't forget, if you want to be successful, turn your life over to Jesus. Just say to Jesus, I'm sorry for stuffing it up. I'm sorry for all the bad things that happened to me and all the bad things I've done to other people. Please forgive me, Jesus, and come into my life. And your life will change. You see, it's far easier to use the power of God than it is to try and do it on your own. Okay? So do that, will you? Okay. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.